Alright, YouTube, David Harry here, and in this video I'm going to show you once and for all that there is indeed a problem with the Rode VideoMic GO II and the fact that it definitely distorts with certain cameras. So what I have here is my original GO II, then next to that I have got another GO II which Rode sent me because they were concerned as to whether or not my one may have been defective, but in this video I will show you that both of them suffered the exact same problem. Now when I went out to do the takes for this video, I used dead cats on both of the microphones. Now what it is, the one that Rode sent me, this uses the WS12 and also it has the rubber band which covers the USB port on that. Now for my one, I'm using a WS11, which is the one for I think the VideoMic NTG, and hopefully as we should be able to see here, I have used some tape to tape up the USB port on my particular microphone there. So basically there's no way that either microphone is going to suffer from wind distortion, plus there was hardly any wind anyways. Now another thing to be clear about here is that the levels for these recordings are way below 0 dB on the camera, so there's no way that the camera was clipping. Anyway, let me get into this and I will come back with a summary. Actually, for anybody interested, there will be a link below in the description taking you to one of the files that was used from the ZV-1 in this video if you would like to test it for yourself. Okay, so I'm obviously outdoors now doing this test. Now the thing to bear in mind here, well there's a number of things to bear in mind. One, it's an audio test. Two, it is not a picture test, and it's definitely not a picture test because it is so bright. I've got the camera on auto and stuff like that, and I don't know what the picture's going to be like, but it's a picture nonetheless. But this is obviously an audio test. So anyway, right now I'm just out and about in my usual spot here as I walk up and down the road doing certain types of testing, where I'm testing for my voice obviously against other noises and stuff like that. But the important thing to note here is that the level that I'm recording at is like really low. I am nowhere near like, 0 dB. In fact, as this will have been playing, I will have had like a screen grab playing next to me, probably on the left hand side of the screen, which is going to show us the level as it is in post, so my recording level. So basically what this is telling us is that if there is any problems or are any problems or issues with this recording, it definitely is not the recorded level. Okay, so let's be dead clear about this. Clipping at the recording means that you've exceeded 0 dB and you've basically gone in what in analog terms would be considered as distortion. But in the digital realm, this is called clipping, and the more you go into it or the more you stay into clipping, it just sounds worse and worse and stuff like that. However, you do get these odd little peaks every now and then which could like clip and like ruin a recording. But like I've just said, we are nowhere near that because the recording input is actually like that far below 0, being possible for us to clip the recording. Now let me just get on the other side of the road and walk up that way and do a little bit more talking. Okay, so I'm safely across the other side of the road now. I'll just walk up this way. I'm a bit of shade here. Maybe we might get a bit of a slightly better picture. Who knows? Anyway, so I will have been alternating A and B as this has been going through. Now A is going to have been my original microphone and B is going to have been the one that Rode sent me. Now also we have to remember here that I'm using dead cats on both of the microphones, although on my microphone what I've done is taped up the USB socket here. It's not particularly breezy or windy or anything, so the taping up of the socket probably wasn't necessary. However, I've done it anyway to try and be as equal and as fair as possible. But any of the issues that there may or may not be here have got absolutely nothing to do with dead cats or wind anyway. Now of course there are other points within the recording chain where you can actually be picking up some forms of distortion, clipping and like overdriving and stuff like that. And if we've been getting any weirdness with these recordings, I will go into those things shortly within the summary. But like I've been saying here, the main point where you would get distortion or clipping in this instance, because it's a digital system, is in the record level itself. And as we've seen here and as I've shown with the levels, that definitely hasn't happened. So hopefully we're not getting any weirdness with one of the mics, but if both of them have been doing it, then it's proof that there is definitely an issue with these particular microphones. Okay, so as we could clearly hear there was definitely distortion on both of the microphones. Now, before I go any further, I've used the words distortion, clipping, overdriving and whatnot during that test. Right, for now, I'm just going to use the word distortion, and that's because most people understand what distortion means. Okay, so we've definitely got distortion going on. It's happening with both of the microphones, so that's proven that my microphone didn't have a problem. It's the fact that both of the microphones, or all of these Go IIs, have got problems. Right, now let me try and break this down as fast as possible. Between what I've proven myself and between a number of emails that I've had with Rode, I can come to a conclusion here based on deduction. Right, so we know that the camera's actual record level internally wasn't clipping. We could see that, so no distortion occurring there. Also, the input for my camera, I've used this camera with a ton of other microphones, including about 4 other Rode mics. Not one of those microphones has had that problem, so we can exclude the input of the camera as far as that's concerned. Now, that will leave us down to the microphone, the front of the microphone as in its capsule, and the back of the microphone as in its output. Now, Rode have told me that the SPL characteristics of this microphone or its capsule, SPL being sound pressure levels, are way high enough in order to not be affected by something like a human voice, as in me, or generally what I would be recording walking around doing me vlogging and stuff like that. So everything that you hear on my videos is well within the scope of the capsule's range for this microphone, so can't distort the capsule, which then only leaves one thing: the output of the microphone. Here it is in a nutshell. This is what I've deduced here. The output of this microphone is far too loud. It sends out a dead loud signal, which inherently means it's a higher voltage coming out than what it really should be for the types of devices that it's being plugged into. Now, given that this microphone can also be an active microphone due to the USB input and such, I'm going to surmise here that the microphone also has the ability to slightly preamp the signal, even with the small voltage that comes from a camera's microphone input. Actually, on that point about the voltage from the microphone socket being enough to drive an external preamplifier, this cable is proof of that. What it is, on one end we've got a TRS jack plug, then on the other end we've got an XLR. Now, you might think that is just a passive like 3.5 to XLR cable. It is not. What it is, the XLR here on the inside, it has got a small preamplifier. Now, that preamplifier is being driven by the power sent down the cable from the mic socket on the camcorder, which is basically electret power or plug-in power. It is enough voltage for this little cable here with its preamp built in to be able to gain by about 20 to 22 dB, and these cables can actually be used with the Shure SM7B. So that is proof in itself to say that there's enough voltage coming out of the camera there in order to be able to drive some form of preamplifier. And that's what I'm getting at here. I think that with inside these microphones, as passive as what you may think they are, I believe that they do have some form of preamp. Either that, or it's the capsule is just so sensitive and its output is so loud that it is just driving too much volume into the camera or too much voltage. Now, the thing is, whichever way round that is or it isn't, whichever one, doesn't matter. The result is still the same. The output is far too loud. And I've been making microphones around, like simple ECM mics and stuff, little mic builds for years. Loads of the microphones that I've been using for years are just standard ECMs. In fact, most of the microphones that most people use with camcorders, cameras and little small recording devices like these are all ECM types, electret condenser microphones. Now, the thing with them, I've not come across any one which is as loud as that microphone. This is stupid loud, okay? Seriously loud. So like I say, it could be one or two things, right? Either There's a small preamp built in which is drawing current from the microphone, from the mic cable itself, or from the microphone output from the camera, or just indeed the capsule somehow is managing to generate such a huge loud output. But nonetheless, it is the microphone that's doing the distorting. So to summarize here, because I will just carry on blabbering on forever, as far as I'm concerned, Rode have made a bad microphone. Okay, they have designed a microphone which basically isn't designed properly for the market that it's going into. And by that, what I mean is it's effectively a vlogging mic, you know, although you can use it for like any kind of audio recording if you want to, but essentially people are going to be using these for vlogging and stuff. In fact, a lot of like the Rode pictures are showing people using it for that, and obviously there's been a ton of videos done about it, you know, being used for vlogging and stuff. Now in that instance, what I've got to say is this camera here, which is a Sony ZV-1, as much as what I don't think it's a particularly great vlogging camera, only because of field of view and stability and stuff, it's one of the most popular cameras for vlogging. So basically, if Rode have built a microphone and didn't even take on board like the most popular cameras out there in order for the microphone to be compatible with it, then it's a bad design as far as I'm concerned. Also on top of that, there have been other videos that I've heard on YouTube. Some of my YouTube buddies have done videos showing the same problem with different cameras. And I've also heard other YouTubers actually having the problem but not even recognizing it. Because you have to remember, there's a lot of people that make YouTube videos who don't really know too much about picture and audio and stuff like that. And so for them, a lot of these problems will kind of go over their head, although they do exist. Anyways, I'll leave it at that because I will just ramble on like a mad person. Bottom line is, these microphones, no, they distort with certain cameras. That's it. Bottom line, I've proved it. Anywho, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.